Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a video on understanding your abilities and understanding how to tune into them and use them. Specifically, I'm going to focus a lot on psychic abilities and how they would work. Now, a lot of you out there have been asking, I get a lot of questions and emails from people all over the world who have been wanting to know how can they use their gifts, or how do they know if they're gifted. And I've done several developmental videos on my channel, but I'm going to be doing some refresher courses, basically some refresher videos for a lot of you out there, so that way you can kind of understand your abilities and how they work. So the first thing is that if you are at a place where you've had some paranormal activity at some point in your life, or you've seen what you believe to be a spirit, or some people call it a ghost, or you've seen things that maybe that you can't explain. These are all part of your psychic abilities, all part of things that are happening very much in your life. It's not your imagination. A lot of people have this stigma where they don't want to, call it a psychic ability, because when they think of psychics, a lot of people tend to think of someone with that's a fortune teller and that holds a crystal ball and is just telling fortunes, like you would see at a circus or another, like a Halloween party. That's just not the case. That's like a stigma, just like people would, describe, other people, like, Santa Claus, he is, a fluffier guy with a big white beard, So we tend to, when we don't understand a certain thing, a certain person or a certain ability or situation, we tend to kind of put a fear on it and label it in a certain way where we shut ourselves completely out. The first part of understanding what kind of psychic ability you have, or what kind of spiritual ability you have, is not being afraid of it. And that's something that's going to be something that you develop over time. The more that you kind of get through that threshold period of adjustment, and really coming into your higher self and just understanding that there's nothing to be afraid about. A lot of you out there, and I know for myself, when I first knew what I could do and the things that the spiritual abilities that I had, I was very fearful. And what was happening was that I was developing all this intense psychic energy, and it was not flowing through my chakras, through my body, through the energy points the way that it was supposed to. And how it felt, it was like stuck right in my heart area, in my chest area, in the heart chakra. And I would get these panic attacks, and they were very crippling, and I would go to the hospital and the doctors, and they wouldn't find anything. They just said, oh, it's just anxiety, there's nothing wrong with you. Physically, there was nothing wrong with me, but spiritually, it was, it was fear of, thinking you're crazy, fear of just not understanding, why you had these gifts, and what is the purpose of using those gifts. I think that's a very important conversation to have with yourself. That's the first part, is asking yourself, why were you given these gifts? If you can understand that you were given these gifts to help people, to help yourself navigate through this world, it's going to be a lot easier for you. There's no book, there's no manual that is a right or wrong way of doing things, or a right or wrong way of tapping into things. And I think a lot of people also that have spiritual abilities tend to also get into the comparison mindset, and they look at other people that have abilities and they start saying, why is this person so lucky and then very intuitive and everything's going their way, and why is it that I don't have the level of success that they have yet? Or what am I doing wrong that I can't tap into my gifts like they can? And that's when you start comparing yourself to other people. You also are setting yourself up for failure, and you're blocking your gift subconsciously, not even realizing that you're doing this. So if you are starting on a spiritual journey and you're wanting to develop your gifts further, you have to eliminate these two things. One is fear, and you have to be strong and courageous and believe in yourself. And even if you don't feel like you have that strength, you do. You just have to say positive affirmations, think positive about yourself, don't talk any negative. It's like the laws of attraction. Anything that you project out, it's going to come back into your space. It reverberates throughout the world. So whatever you're putting out, you're going to be getting that back in. So it's going to be very important for you to really focus in on on eliminating those fears and that mental thought process that you're not capable of doing this. Anyone is capable of tuning in, and I'll explain throughout this video how psychic abilities work and how you can fine-tune them and kind of really understand what we're seeing, that you're not that crazy. So when I'm going to just get into it a lot more, and I'm very excited to do this, and I'll be doing a series of these videos. So when I read someone, I'm a lot different than a lot of psychics out there in the fact that we're all the same though, but the way that we do our our readings, or we give spiritual advice, is a lot different. My gift, how it works, is that I'll look at a photograph. I always ask for a picture of a person, and so I'll look at a photograph and I can tune into the souls. I always ask for a headshot or something that where I can see clearly, their eyes clearly without a filter. This could be a selfie or a headshot, and I look at the picture, and what I'm seeing is not their emotional, their expression on their face. I'm not looking at the expression. I'm looking a lot at the third eye right here. I'm looking at the third eye, and I'm also looking into their eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. But then I also see, as a clairvoyant, I have the ability to see visions or snapshots of things that are happening. When I look at a person, I can also see a dark cloud. This would be like their aura, but it's not their aura, it's a dark cloud that is surrounding them. And if there's like a dark cloud or some kind of haze around them, that tells me that there's some kind of negativity that is going on in their life. This is something that is more like a heavy, heaviness that is surrounding their life. This is not necessarily a spiritual attachment. If I see a spiritual attachment to someone, I would see like a dark shadow person right behind them, and you can also feel like a disconnect. I'm also a claircognizant, so I can feel and just know things that I shouldn't have any kind of knowledge of knowing, but a lot of, and a clairsentient, so I have a lot of abilities to sense things from people. And so when there is a spiritual attachment, you can tell that the person's soul is disconnected in a way from their personality. There's a disconnect, and the way that I see this sometimes is that I get visions of like two different people, the same person but two different faces, and I know that this is either they're possibly going through like a personality disorder, or there's a disassociation. There's something that is controlling them. A lot of times it'll also be like their eyes. When I look at their eyes, even though let's say their eyes are green or a beautiful blue color, I would see pure black in their eyes. It's scary. Some of the things that I do see, I'm not gonna lie, are not pleasant, but this is how I know it's a spiritual attachment to them, or something brooding that's negative with them and their energy. And it's understanding the signs, the symbols, and the understanding what you're seeing. That's the hardest part for a lot of you out there that are tuning into your psychic abilities and really trying to understand what are you seeing. A lot of times when I see a place, a building, and I see negativity around it, or I feel like there's something bad in that building, a lot of times I'll see, dark clouds around the building as well. Or I could see, different types of, things, different symbols, like a serpent, around the building. There's just different things that we all see. Everyone is different. I'm just giving you examples of things that I've seen in my past. I'm not, hallucinating. I know that it's a greater purpose and the greater gift, why I'm seeing this and why it's being revealed to me. And I feel like, a lot of you out there may be seeing things that you don't explain, or you have these feelings and you just don't know why you're getting these feelings, and you're passing it off as maybe your imagination, and it's not. It's actually occurring. So you need to trust those things that you're seeing and feeling. If someone has been feeling heartbreak, and I'm reading them from a psychic perspective, I may feel pain in my heart area, right here where the heart is. I could also be feeling this sadness, this overwhelming heartbreak. So it's not just in the face, that it's not the expression of the photograph or the person that I'm reading. It's the feeling that I'm getting intuitively, and being able to feel their pain. A lot of times when I'm doing readings for people, and since I'm a clairaudient as well, I have a lot of different facets of my abilities that come in, and I have no control what happens, I can hear spirit tell me, my spirit guides, I have 2 spirit guides that I work with, that this situation is going on. If I don't hear my spirit guides, a lot of times I will hear conversations that this person may have had with another person, and kind of tell them per verbatim what more or less that I've been hearing, and convey that to the person. So there's a lot of, validations that you will be getting from your gifts. And there's no, like I said, if you're feeling or you're getting something, take a note of it. If you saw a photograph of someone and you got a premonition, or some kind of insight that this is happening, or what you saw around this person, write it down. Because a lot of times we don't tend to understand that if you're watching TV and you see someone on TV and you know that you saw something or you felt something, write it down, because later down the road, whether it's a month, 6 months, you could get validation from that it that did come to pass, and that is actually has happened. That's how a lot of my predictions that I have made for a lot of the celebrities and the world predictions have come to pass. Things that I've seen, that are revealed. It's like a vision or a feeling that I get, it's just, it's something that you just need to trust and not doubt yourself. A lot of us also tend to, when we receive messages, and we try to relay them, we may not know how to relay them to the individual without knowing if they're open. So the best thing that you can do is really kind of use good, what's the word I'm looking for? Good judgment. And understanding, when you coming into a person, let's say you're reading someone and, you're not facing them face to face. Maybe it's by chat or it's by, email. But if you're doing in-person readings, you can actually feel the vibration of the person by looking in their face, and how comfortable they are. One of the things that I like to do and ask all of my clients when I'm reading them, is if they're open to listening, if they're open to knowing everything. That's one question that you should probably ask at the very beginning of any session, because there's some people who do not want to know everything. And I don't sugarcoat anything. And a lot of psychics out there, my colleagues and peers, they don't sugarcoat anything. We give it as straight as Spirit, gives it to us. And we relay those messages to a person. But a person may not be ready. Even though they have come to you for some psychic advice, you have to respect their space and respect what they actually want to know. That's why I ask a lot of times in my readings now, what is it that they actually want to know? Like, what questions do they have, or general, areas they want me to tune into, and if they're open. And it's a good way to start, a reading and to ask them, because a lot of people may not be ready to know about the relationship, or they may not want to know about certain things. And so we have to really understand where a person is and how open they are to receiving the messages. If someone is fully open and receiving, the connection will be stronger, and you'll be able to bring forth information to this person that they would be willing to listen to and willing to hold on to. Now, a lot of you also will find that when you are reading someone and you're giving them information, they may be like at first, that doesn't sound right, or I don't know. Some people are limited on what they know. A lot of times, a lot of you out there that are tuning into your psychic side could be picking up on, future oriented things that may have happened, or things that have happened in their past, but perhaps you just don't, the person that you're reading doesn't know the history too well, or doesn't know they have to do some research or hold on to that information. So always tell them to hold on to that information. Don't feel like you are automatically not doing your job right, or you're not, giving them the right information, so to speak, of what you're getting from a psychic perspective or intuitively, because a lot of times it takes a while for things to be validated, and a lot of people automatically will get into a mindset, a lot of readers and people with abilities, and just shut down and be like, I'm so discouraged because nothing made sense to the person that I was giving, or it just didn't seem to match. Another thing is also that when you're giving a reading, a lot of people tend to come to a psychic, but they've had previous psychic readings, and a lot of them try to match what they've been told from another person. That can create a lot of confusion for the person. So if you're reading someone, just let them know that, you know, if they happen to question you, you know, well, another psychic told me this or said this to me, you know, a good thing is to just tell them, you know, that everybody has different abilities, and not every psychic is going to see or receive the same pieces of information that you would receive. So just, you know, have that that understanding with them, that to hold on to that information, but try not to compare it. So a lot of clients try to compare, you know, what they were told, and they can get more confused. So just take the message and hold on to it, and then they can make the decision themselves using their own free will to see which of the two of those readings, you know, really aligns with their energy and is validated down the road. Another thing, you know, when you are dealing with psychic abilities is really knowing when you are ready to read someone. You have, as a reader or as someone that is a sensitive or intuitive, you have to respect your body, your mind, and your soul. If you're feeling ill, if you're not feeling well at all, you really are not in a good state of mind. I know for myself, when I went through the hurricane in 2017, this was August 2017, it was really, really hard for me because I was, our home was destroyed completely, and we were homeless for almost 2 months, and I had to go to a shelter in Austin, Texas, and it was so hard for me because I just felt like I couldn't read people, and I have this, you know, gift to give to help people, and, you know, I felt like I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't read people. I wasn't in the mindset to read people, and it was hard for me, you know, having to pull away from what I do as a light worker and not be able to help other people. I just felt like, you know, I wasn't really functioning. But you have to respect your body and respect your emotions. If you're feeling like you're not, you know, you're coming under the flu, you've had a surgery, you know, you need to give yourself some time to heal, because our body is our vessel, and ultimately it is the mechanism that we use to navigate through this world. And if you're not operating and functioning at the right level, how can you help someone else, you know? So that's something that's also very, very imperative, to really honor yourself and know when you have limits. Don't keep pushing yourself. Even if you have to reschedule a session with a client, you know, sometimes it's inevitable. And a lot of people that are psychics, professional psychics, you know, will put this immediate amount of pressure and say, you know, no, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and read someone. But if you are doing it under circumstances where your body and your mind are not aligned and you're not feeling good, the messages may not be delivered the right way, or it may cause confusion, you know. So you really need to respect your space and yourself. A lot of you also need to realize that when you are getting, you know, you're hearing things, your spirit guides talk to you. A lot of people have asked about spirit guides. Your spirit guides don't necessarily have to sound like, you know, another person talking to you, like I'm talking to you through this camera. A lot of spirit guides use a transference, so they actually tune into your frequency and your vibration. They are at a higher vibration and we're at a lower vibration, so they have to meet at the middle. When they meet at the middle, then that transference occurs. But how they do that is that you would be channeling those messages from within yourself. They'll be channeling through you, and so you hear your own voice. A lot of times we hear our own voice and we think, oh, this is my imagination, or I'm talking to myself, and it's actually your spirit guides that are talking to you. This is galactic. This is, you know, on another level. The universe is speaking to you. Also, the universe can speak to you. It doesn't have to be necessarily spirit guides. We call this universal codes, information, that frequencies that are downloaded into our, you know, our pineal gland and our third eye. And so we receive a lot of this information, and it could be in the form of your own thoughts, your own voices. So there's just a lot of different things that, you know, that you will experience. So I'll just stop right here, and I'll do another session, another video series of this in a couple of weeks. So I hope that you found this interesting, and knowing that you're probably more the same as everybody else, you know, in the respect that you're not as unique. You know, if you felt like you were isolated, or you just weren't, you know, you were kind of like feeling weird about yourself, you have no reason to feel like that. We are all going through a spiritual awakening, a greater consciousness. We're all shifting into a 5D, or the 5th dimension state of consciousness, and this is just basically the spiritual awareness that people have now. And so you would be experiencing a lot of different things. Ringing in your ears, you know, pressures, pains, visions, things that you can't explain. So I hope you really enjoyed this, and again, I am very excited to do some of these series to kind of explain things a little bit further. But thank you so much. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to set up a private reading with me, you can go to my website. That's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Blessings and love and light to all of you.